That one's already going. Hey. Okay. We are good, I believe. Alright, everybody, we're going live. Okay, how's everybody doing tonight? Give me just a second. I need to finish doing what I'm doing here. Okay. Think I have everything set up. Ready to go. Alright, everybody. If you're just joining us, go ahead and give me a thumbs up on there. We are going to get started. Today is Monday. Today is Monday the 15th, I think. Let's see, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, today is Monday the 15th. It's a little after 10 o'clock here, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Hope everybody's having a great day today. For all my Marine Corps brothers out there, Semper Fi. For all my military brothers and sisters out there, also my Marine Corps sisters too. I know that if I don't say that, Valerie will freaking probably strangle me. If she's watching this time, but she does watch every once in a while, so I better make sure to remember that stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and read from Leadership. By the way, this is not religious, okay? These are just some quotes I like to read to get things started, because today we're going to go into stuff with families and truckers, but today I want to read, okay, this one here, oh, somebody's requesting me as a friend. I'll have to worry about that stuff later. Okay, so, the world needs more men who do not have a price at which they can be bought, who do not borrow from integrity to pay for expediency, whose handshake is an ironclad contract, who are not afraid of risk, who are honest in small matters as they are in large ones, whose ambitions are big enough to include others, who know how to win with grace and lose with dignity, who do not believe that shrewdness and cunning and ruthlessness are the three keys to success, who still have friends that they made 20 years ago, who are not afraid to go against the grain of popular opinion and do not believe in the consensus, who are occasionally wrong and always willing to admit it. In short, the world needs leaders. And that's by Anonymous. And I always like that one because it goes towards men or women or whatever. It's just basically a leadership character. Leaders are not the people that are glorified like everybody thinks. Leaders are like the Marine Corps officers or the non-commissioned officers, or even somebody leading the newest privates. Maybe it's a private first class or a lance corporal. We always call them terminal lance corporals, but they're some of the greatest men and women in the world. Maybe it's a specialist in the Army or something, okay? But here's just it. Leaders are not the ones that go around gloating about all the great stuff they do. Leaders don't do that. Leaders will never do that. Okay? And some of the greatest business owners make some of the greatest leaders because they're working on the factory floor with those that they ask to work with them. They don't work for them, they work with them. In my hometown, I've seen a lot of great leaders. You know, a lot of you would not even realize have a car radio today if it wasn't for some of the leaders in my hometown. A little bitty 2-cent spring that big is the reason why all of us have car radios today. You know, you would not have leadership. Leaders are not the ones that brag and gloat and talk about how great they are. Leaders go to bed last because they make sure that everybody underneath of them is has a proper night's sleep. A leader is checking people's feet. Now, I know you're going to say this is gross, but in the military, you have to check each other's feet. The reason why is because you don't want calluses. You know, you have to work on your feet all the time. A leader eats last. He makes sure that the best goes to those that he is leading. A leader will go in first. Whenever you're on a hump or on a hike or something else, a leader goes first to make sure if something happens, he or she will take the first blows. A leader is the one that's going to basically get everybody out of the room to try a new experiment, even if it's not even his own, to make sure that it goes off without a hitch, but also to make sure that no one gets hurt. A leader is the one who may not be the smartest out of everybody, but the people that are with him are, and he knows how to use them in just a way that they know that they're great and they're special. A leader is that person that we all go to bat for no matter whatever happens. That's what a leader is. A leader is the very people that you come across every day and you have no clue what they're doing or what they're all about. That's the reason why sometimes the people you could be kind to, the ones that you don't know what's going on in somebody's life, they could be leaders who are in charge of a lot of people. You just don't know it because, man, maybe you caught them when they're just away from those they're leading, and maybe they're crying on the inside. They lose a loved one, but they continue to carry on. They're the ones that push no matter whatever happens. Moms and dads are some of the greatest leaders because they do whatever we can for us kids, you know. Aunts and uncles are leaders. Grandparents are leaders because leaders are the ones that learned from everything from the past and they put it towards the future on how to do things. They understand that they're not always going to be right, but they also understand that sometimes the newer generation are going to do things that are not going to be right. And if they do it, it's going to cost them more work, or even that, it's going to cost lives. You know, leaders are the ones that say, no, we're going to take the extra 45 minutes and go around. Somebody with a big head that don't like themselves, somebody like, hey, we're just going to go right through here, when it could be an ambush. Now, I speak in military terms a lot, but let me see this. How many of some of the greatest trucking companies out there right now have great leaders in it who are making sure that their truckers are good, they're okay, and everything else, and they're actually staying awake. They're actually on the comms, you know, they're making sure the loads are going to and from, and they're making sure that their truckers are good to go before they even go home for the night, to make sure that those loads are getting where they need to be, that their pickups and drop-offs, that no one's deadheading, that no one's bobtailing back. How many leaders, you know, come to the factory floor and actually, okay, I understand I got a foreman, that's why we have a foreman, but I also want to talk with those that are, you know, down here. Hey, you doing okay? I just want you to know you're doing a great job. Hey, everything going okay? Is there anything we can do to make this place a better environment? Leaders are the ones that are always looking to make things better, that are always looking to expand. They're looking to go in when nobody else will, but they're also the first to draw back if they see problems, and they will not let their own people go in and do it. Leaders of a church want to make sure their flocks are good. You know, leaders of colleges and stuff make sure all their teachers are in good shape because the teachers are the ones that are teaching the kids, not the executives. So we always have to remember, what is a leader? A leader is not somebody that goes around and name drops and brags about how great they are, okay? And I really do think I have a thing with Andrew Carnegie. And he's probably he was the richest man in the world, and a lot of people don't understand that one of the reasons what made him one of the richest men in the world is he could remember names. But he also had a kindness to him. He was good at what he did, and he saw things that could be done when nobody else could, okay? And I think that a lot today of a lot of our, you know, thinkers in society, that they're great people and they do the best they can with what they got. You know, I mean, I look who's trying to do a space race compared to who is making sure that we get into space. In other words, they're not trying to take themselves there, they're trying to take everyone there. And I hope some of you guys will understand what I mean by that. So I'm going to read one more by Luzao. A leader is best when people barely know he exists. Not so good when people obey and acclaim him. Worse when they despise him. Fail to honor people. They fail to honor you, but of a good leader who talks little when his work is done, his aim fulfilled, the people say, we did this ourselves. There's a coach. I forgot what team it is. I know that a lot of you guys follow basketball. I don't follow basketball too much, but there was a coach one day, and this is what made him great coach. Coach equals leader. He say, whenever the team does bad or we lose a game, you know, when I go in there, look, it's my fault. I did this. I should have done more. You know what? You guys did the best you could, but this is my fault. When the team wins and they do great, he goes, man, this is all you guys. You did this. You did great. You know, this is all you. He gives them all the credit for winning, and he takes all the credit for losing whenever it happens. And the reason why is because he put it on himself to make sure that the people that he's leading, the teammates and the players on his team, know that they're that important. He doesn't want them feeling bad. He doesn't want them, you know, looking at the ground. He wants to, you know, improve what they failed upon, or, you know, take the loss. Okay, what do we got to do now? Do we got to do man on man? Do we got to do drills? Do we need to wash more? You know, what do we got to do? Do we got to get to the gym more? Do we got to have more practice? Okay? Same way at the military. You know, we practice so that we sweat, and we sweat, you know, sweat and tears when we're practicing, when we're training. But that's so that we have no blood and tears when we have to face the real thing. So that we understand there's landmines, we understand there's snipers, we understand not everybody's going to love us, we understand there's people out there going to lie, cheat, and steal. So what we do is we practice, and what we do is we train, train, train. A lot of people think, oh, military, you don't become the best military in the world because you sit on your butt all day, okay? And right now, with all the women coming in the military, we're going to get even better. You know why? Because I still believe that I don't care who you are, some of your best people, it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, you need the best. The best doesn't equal color or religion or creed or anything like that. The best means you're the best. The best means you take the best. You don't judge somebody based on if they're a man or a woman. You don't based on them based on the color of their skin or, what their religion is. You base it upon how they carry themselves. What they can get done. If they can shoot 500 yards out. If they can, anyway, I go too far with some of this stuff. But that's what I'm trying to talk about. Every day in life, you need to know and recognize the leaders. Maybe you're a leader and you just don't know it. That's the thing about leaders. Sometimes they don't even know they're leading. They're just getting the job done. They're just doing what they have to do. And we can go back into our school days, and all of us have like one or two or even several favorite teachers we had because those teachers seemed like they were our buddies when we were in school. But they weren't our buddies. They were our teachers. And the reason why they seemed like our buddies is because they cared about us enough to talk with us, to make sure we're okay. There's one counselor, I remember her in school. It's a friend of mine's mom. And I know people are going to hate when I say this, but she'd even smoke with the students every once in a while because she knew she wasn't going to stop them. But on the other hand, they would talk to her. They would open up to her. She was able to help a lot of people because she would listen to what they had to say instead of sitting there like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, instead of trying to be a warden or, some like a drill instructor or something, Instead, she was open to her students. She understood there's things that you can't change because she wanted to get to their problems. She wanted to know who they were. She wanted to know how great they really were. And that particular counselor, that particular teacher, I still think the world of her to this day. But you want to know something? She wasn't there to get people in trouble. She was there to help people. She wasn't there to try to, oh, you did this, this, and this. You're getting kicked out of school, or oh, you're going to ISS, or you're going to OSS. She didn't do that. Instead, she fixed the problem. Or she helped fix the problem. She's a leader that way. One of my good friends I always talk about, Dr. Patrick McGinley, he wasn't about seeing kids get in trouble. Even some of the kids that he may have, while he was teaching or something going on, he'd keep them after, but he'd have them do something that would benefit them for later on. And he would talk to them or feel them out or see who they are. He was very compassionate. Priests, a lot of them get in trouble. Now, I know a lot of people have a bad concept of priests because of all these lawsuits and everything going on, but the majority of priests are all actually really good. And, they sit there and listen to you. They give you the time of day. I remember when my mom died, I had several priests that would sit with me, and they just asked me. And it's funny because I would actually ask them some of the craziest questions in the world. And I was like, what's the Big Bang? You know what they told me? And I remember one, Father Barry's the one who told it to me. And I was like, Father Barry, I understand that. I was like, but, they're talking about the Big Bang, and they're talking about... And he goes, okay. He goes, but who created that piece of dust? In other words, he didn't disagree with me, like I was expecting him to. Instead, he went along, and he goes, that's what we find out. He goes, that's what every day, there are things that we'll never know. He goes, but there's also questions that science cannot answer. Father Barry's also the one who told me that the church investigates itself more than anything else, meaning they actually have telescopes in the space, and they're looking out, they're looking into all these things. And you know what? Everybody that thinks that religion or whatever is all this anti-everything, it's really not. Religion is just they're learning as we go. They just do it at a slower pace in order to get it right. Now, do I agree with everything the church says and does? No. And a lot of that may came from Father Barry also. Because, like I said, when he answered my question, he answered it truthfully. He answered it the way he thought I needed to hear it, and he did a great job. And then I've had priests. I debate with priests all the time, rabbis, preachers, you name it. I debate with them, but I believe in God. So, what is all this about? You need to be a leader every day, to show kindness every day, to be great every day, because that's who you are. And I know I say this every day to you, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And somebody asked me today, like, Jeff, what do you do when you're down? I do these. Because if I can help one person out there, it makes me feel better. If I can actually convince one person that they matter, that they're important, it makes me feel better. Do I have my down days? Yes, I do. All the time. Do I go through a lot of stuff? Yes, I do. But you know what? I also believe in teaching firsthand. If somebody needs to hear it, I'm going to say it. Am I comfortable with doing it? Yeah, for the most part. Do I enjoy it? Actually, believe it or not, no. I do it because a long time ago I was told that if somebody needs to do it, then you do it. If it's to be, then it's up to me. If you want to get things done, do it yourself. If you want somebody else to get it done, then you better know how to lead them to get it done if you yourself do not know how to do it. I don't have the answers, but you know what? I will try to find the person that does have the answers. And in the Marine Corps, that's what we all make up. And in life, that's what we all make up. In the Marine Corps, you know what? You've got your fire team. Everybody's got a strength, and we all have weaknesses. Then you got your squad. A squad makes up about 2, if not 3 fire teams. Well, then you got your platoon. Okay? Then your platoon, you've got your company. Okay? Your company, you got your battalion. And the more you get in there, the more people can make up those weaknesses for whatever, weaknesses you have. You're going to have people make those up. I watch marriages and relationships where the husband and wife will make up each other's strengths and weaknesses. And sometimes we forget that. And we need to tell those that we love them. We need to be reminded, because we get into this funk all the time where we're in this gray area to where we just move with forgetting what it is we need to be doing. And one of the things we need to be doing is telling each other that we care about them. We need to tell each other we love them. We need to tell each other, hey, you know what, I'm proud of you. Hey, thank you for doing that for me. You know what, I really appreciate it. I know we always get these, that the woman's always right and everything else, and she really is. But that's because, I've got several aunts. If I don't say that, they will punish me dearly. Kidding. My aunts are some of the greatest women in the world, and they're older now. One of my favorite aunts, she just died not too long ago. She was my great aunt, and she was a huge Cardinals fan, very big. Sister Florence Kuhn, she was one of the biggest Cardinals fans I've ever known. Like literally, like you could never Cardinals. However, then you got my Uncle Ray, biggest Cubs fan that you'd ever see your entire life. And you know what? Both of them were nicest, God-fearing, greatest people in the world. And they actually missed each other because they could get around each other, talk about stats and figures and everything else. And I'm like, you're 90-some years old, and you know more about the Cardinals and Cubs than I do. But it was always fun getting around because competition made things fun. That's the reason why I like playing pool and darts, and I like to play softball and baseball with my friends and stuff, I don't really like to watch it. I like to play it. Why? Because we get around each other and we talk and we get things done, and we always trying to better ourselves. And that's just who we are. So every day, better yourself every single day. And that's what I wanted to start out tonight with saying before I get into my other stuff. I just want you to know that if you cannot be a leader, or you don't feel you're a leader, then be a follower that listens. Be a follower that's willing to take over. You may not want to be a leader every day, but eventually you're going to have to lead. Eventually you're going to have to do something to where you're going to be the leader of whatever it is you're doing. And that's one reason why you've got to listen. You've got to learn. You've got to read books. You've got to be kind to people. Be nice to people. I still watch people rude as can be. I'm a very rude person when it comes to scammers and hackers and stuff like that. I've got a very foul mouth on me. I don't sit there and beat around the bush. I do. And the reason why is because I don't like when people take advantage of other people. I hate when people scam other people. I hate when people lie, cheat, and steal. Okay? I'm a person that I believe that there is a way of doing things, and to pretend you're somebody else or try to scam somebody because, oh, they are a certain race, color, they're in a certain country. To me, I don't have there's no love lost for scammers, hackers, and stuff like that. Because, like I said, I fight my entire life to make sure that people like that go away. So, that being said, I'll read one more leadership one, and then I'm going to get into wills and why it's important to have a will. So, I'll read one more of these. And let me read. I will read. Okay, here it is. By Robert Kennedy. Each time a man stands up for an ideal, or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, Those ripples build a current that can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. Few are willing to brave the disapproval of their fellows, the censure of their colleagues, the wrath of the society. Moral courage is a rarer commodity than bravery in battle or great intelligence. Yet it is the one essential, vital quality for those who seek to change a world that yields most painfully to change. Robert F. Kennedy. And Robert F. Kennedy got it dead on the nose on that one. Just because, like I said, if you want to be a leader, you're not going to be popular. If you're going to do things, like I said, things that are not always right are not always legal. Things that are legal are not always right. In other words, sometimes when you do the right thing, not everyone's going to agree with it because it's easier to do what is wrong. But moral courage means it doesn't matter what the cost is, as long as I do it for the right reasons and the right way. Your moral courage is more important than anything else. Your moral obligation to yourself to do the right thing at the right time, no matter what anybody says, thinks, or does. You know, you don't have to go in and rob a place or steal or kill somebody or do anything like that. If you know it's wrong and you don't do it, that's the moral code. If you see somebody else doing it and they're sitting there doing it, but it's okay because, well, they're all doing it now. Well, everybody else is looting, burning down cities. Let me go ahead and do it. You know what? Those people they don't have any moral codes anymore. They have completely broken down all their senses, which means they don't care about anybody, not even themselves anymore. It's those that can see that it's wrong, to invade somebody else's privacy, to basically burn down something, to riot. And, just because they want to use a name, because they listen to all these people that say they're leaders and they're not. They're just basically lemmings listening to people that are shouting really, really loud, and they basically are listening to the loudest person. But a leader is usually the quietest person in the room that's leading by example. And I think that's what's great about the Marine Corps and the United States military, and I think that's what's great about so many different clubs out there, from the Boys Club to the CYO, to the YMCA, to YWCA, to the Kiwanis, to the Knights of Columbus, to all these, the Masonic, the real Masonic stuff, not the fake stuff they send you and everything else, is they live by a code to where you do what is right, not as what is convenient. You hold yourself to a higher judgment, a higher power to do what is right, not right now. And, that in the end makes us who we are. That's what makes us great. Now, we've broken down barriers, race barriers, age barriers, sex barriers, meaning, men and women are equal, and they can be equal in everything they do. A lot of places still got a long way to go, but they're getting there, I promise you. So remember this, be a leader. Be a leader today. All right, let's get into what I was talking about everybody earlier. One of the things I want to put across tonight, and I'll keep this short and brief, like I want everybody to really quick, do you have a will done? Do you have your will, your healthcare power of attorney, your living will? Okay, trust for minors. Do you have all of that stuff done? Now, I just got my brand new license in the mail today and everything else, and I'm an organ donor and all the other good stuff. But one of the things I did when I was in the Marine Corps was I got my will and everything done. The thing about it is I didn't even think about my will again until my daughter was born. And one of the things I want everybody to think about right now is, do you have a will? And if you don't have a will, why don't you? Now, how long ago did you make your will, and have you updated it at all? One of the things I'm going to tell you right now is that's one of the things that I do, and I do it in the middle of the night with people. I do it, whenever, because I'm up a lot with truck drivers, because I handle a lot of trucking situations. I handle a lot of military situations. I handle a lot of third shift and second shift guys that are coming on and off. They're getting off work or whatever, and they want to get their wills and stuff like that done. And I have will packets that I can send you, or I got something I can send you on your email, or I can show you, we have an app and everything. But my thing about it is, why is a will important? Why does a will matter? Well, a will matters for several different reasons, okay? One, do you know the difference between a probate state, and non-probate state? Probably not. Most people don't. But the thing about it is, if you live in a probate state, the state is going to come in, and unless you have basically have a will and showing where everything goes, the state will come and possess everything. They'll take everything. And you're not going to get anything. Your family's not going to get anything, because probate is something that you have to look into. For each of the 50 states have different laws regarding probate. And one of the things I want everybody to know is if you have a will, you can counteract what that probate is, because now it's going about your wishes, where you want everything to go. Now, for the people that say, I don't have anything, the people that say, oh, I don't have anything, I don't need to leave anybody anything, I'm not that important. Well, you're wrong there, okay? I'm going to show everybody something. I want to show you guys something, and this is not a religious thing, okay? So, you guys are going to ask, why am I showing a picture of the Virgin Mary? And this is, if you notice the back here. Now, why is this thing important to me? Okay? And this is the Lady of Fatima. Now, why is that important to me? It has nothing to do with religion, believe it or not. Now, do I love Mary? Yes, I do. Let's get that out of the way. But it has nothing to do with that. My grandmother left that to me, okay? And because it was something that every time I went to her house, I cherished as a kid, all right? And what she did was she put it in her will to make sure that I got it. Now, was it that big of a deal? No. She just added it to her will, and then she also put my name on it to make sure that I would receive it. And I did. And I was very grateful for it. However, if she did not have a will, I would not have received that. Now, that there, nobody else wanted it. Nobody else cared. It wasn't that big of a deal. It probably would have gone to an estate auction or something like that. It probably would have sold for 50 cents or something. Why? Because auctioneers and stuff, they don't care. They're just trying to, sell everybody's goods after they die. But it was that meant the world to me. There was also one other thing that my grandmother, she left to me that remind me of some things that I did. One of was this little wooden cross. Okay? The little wooden cross, hold on real quick. Just a second here. Sorry. My phone, one of my phones is needing charged. Just a minute. I gotta get my charger. 2 seconds, okay? Give me a second. Alright, got it. Sorry. It's dying on me here for anybody listening. I don't want it to die while I'm sitting there talking to you. Alright, so, there we are. There. We're good. I think. Okay, we're good. Okay, saved it. Good. Okay, so, I was left when I was in Greece with 2nd Battalion Marines over an Echo Company, and a lot of my Marine Corps brothers are going to remember this, okay? We were out on patrol, and we got back late, and we were gone for a couple days. When we got back, a lot of the bartering and trading already happened with the Greek military and the Italian military. This was outside of Athens, closer to the ocean. Remember, I've been to Greece a couple times. The others were over by Thessaloniki. So anyway, we got back. One of the things, I kept a $70 knife in my left-hand breast pocket. And the reason why I did that is whenever we were on a helicopter or something else, the reason why we kept them in our breast pocket was to cut ourselves out of our restraints, that hold you into the helicopter and stuff. And one of the things, I had a Gerber knife. The thing was sharp as could be. I loved that knife. It wasn't that big of a deal. And I got back, and I wanted to trade. I wanted to barter. Anyway, I saw this little cross, just a carved wooden cross with a string around one of one of the guys in the Greek military, and I traded my knife, and I didn't even think anything of it. I literally thought of my grandma, so I traded my knife for this cross. And then a couple months later, we went over to Rome, and we were at the Vatican, and I bought my grandma's a couple of rosaries at St. Peter's Square in the Vatican. They still had Pope John Paul on it. I got to go to a mass of Pope John Paul. Now, I did not know what these rosaries were. But one of the things was, when my grandma died, when both my grandmas died, I wasn't paying attention, but it turned out I was left a few things, and I was left from both my grandmas, the rosaries I got them, which I got them the same thing, and also wooden cross. Now, a lot of people ask me why that wooden cross was so important. What was the big deal about the wooden cross? My grandma Jansen, she wore scapulars around her neck that were metal, okay? And to her, it was holding, she was very religious, and to her, but when she went to the hospital, before she died, to go into the x-ray machine or the EKG machine, whatever, you can't bring anything metal. All of her stuff was metal, except for the little wooden cross I got my grandma. And so she was able to go into the EK, where they slide you in, and it's a big magnet that goes around, and she was able to wear this cross because there was no metal on it whatsoever. It was a piece of wooden string. That was priceless. That became priceless to me, knowing that my grandma could hold on to something. And I know people, but sometimes when you're older or when you're younger, like a kid with a teddy bear, it's a comfort. It doesn't mean they have to have it, but it's comfortable. My grandma had on the scapular, and she was able to wear it in there because she was comfortable with it, because it was important to her. And that was left to me. And then I got both of my grandma's rosaries, and because I got them the same one, and I actually opened them up for the very first time. I never opened them. And they smelled just like roses. Well, before my grandma's died, I got them roses. And it gave me, brought back a lot of memories of my grandmas and stuff. And it meant the world to me. And I was left those. And they left them to me in their wills. And it brought back something priceless that I can never get back. And it gave them hope, which means it showed me that I did something, and I didn't do it, I didn't even think about it. To me, it was that important to have those to give to my grandmas. Now, does that mean anything religion? No, but what it meant was I was left these in the will. Instead of them going to anybody else, they went to me, and then I can leave them, to the next people that I know. Same with like baseball cards. Maybe you have baseball cards. Maybe you have some necklace or a trinket or a keychain, or some certain pictures or a statue in your house, or a picture that your kids, grandkids, or someone, you can put that in your will. Okay. And a lot of people think that wills are complicated. They're not. They actually take about 10 minutes. Technically, depending on what you want to do, they can take a little bit longer. But if you know what your assets are and stuff like that, it's easy to put all that down, have it in there, make sure you have a witness to what's going in there, and then the lawyers can write them up for you. And I will do all this for you. We can get all this done for you. It doesn't matter what state you come from. It's all 50 states and all areas of Canada. Okay? And we can get your will done for you. And we'll probably, do it for $29.95. But if you stay with us month after month, or maybe you just want your will updated, we'll update it for the same thing. Okay? And the reason why I'm saying that is because it's a good idea to have your will done, but it's also a good idea to have it done by a professional attorney, to have them type it up. And once it's all typed up, they're going to ask you, okay, is there anything else? It's all confidential.